You're a man of wisdom, so.
Well, I'm not even sure what that means. I was trying to think, boy, I hope he doesn't ask me to define wisdom because I don't think I could.
Well, I'm gonna ask you to define wisdom in your own definition.
I'm not sure. Some random thoughts occur to me. It's being very clear about what's important to you and aligning your life around those same parameters. And age comes in, that we do all age. I think if we're blessed with good genes, it's helpful. If we take care of our bodies and our minds, then we can age a little bit more gracefully. We're all going to get older. We can't fight it. And adapting to whatever occurs as we age. I think about my father who died at 93. And I remember visiting him once. He must have been, late 80s. And he would meet with a group of friends for lunch every week. And I went with him once, and he'd started using a cane because he was 85 and didn't want to fall. And one of his friends started giving him grief. "Oh, Henry, you're using a cane." And my dad looked at him and said, "Herb, you wear glasses, don't you?" Like, it's just another thing that we use to adjust to whatever our circumstances are. I never heard him rail about getting older or anything that happened to him. It was just, okay, this is what life is presenting me now. How am I going to choose to deal with it? And he chose just to, okay, I'll figure out how to deal. He started going blind and taught himself Braille because he wanted to continue to read.
Wow. So
I look at that as wisdom. How do you adapt to whatever you face that morning, that day, that week, with this is my own with grace, with hope, with optimism, rather than, oh, why is this happening to me, and railing against it and fighting it. And I'm not sure that's useful. I always come back. I remember the movie Bridge of Spies. I don't know if you ever saw it.
Yes.
It was marvelous.
Yes.
Yeah, and Mark Rylance, who's a brilliant actor. But my favorite scene in there was the night before they were going to cross at Checkpoint Charlie, and Tom Hanks' character says to him, "Are you worried?" And the Mark Rylance character says, "Would it matter?"
Would it matter? Yes.
And I just thought, what a brilliant way to sort of go through life. I'll worry about the things I can control, and I'll do what I can to deal with them. But the other stuff, why waste energy worrying about things that might happen, could happen? It's not the same as not planning. You can think about, okay, what could happen? What might I do about it? But to be anxious about those things we can't control, I think part of that is wisdom. Learning what's important to you. What are those things that you do have some control or influence over, and acting on those, and letting all that other stuff that I think affects us a lot more in our youth.
Wow.
Just letting that stuff go.
We already starting the conversation already, Neil, but without proper introductions to our audience who you are. That's not fair for them, right? So in our culture, it's very honored for our audience to know who you are and the work you are doing. Now, please do that for them, please.
Oh boy, this is always tough. How to introduce myself? I'm a husband of now 37 years and a father for 30 years. For the last, since 1989, I've been engaged in consulting, first internally inside BP. Had the pleasure of spending 4 years in London as head of organization development for Europe, and worked all over the world, which is probably the highlight of my career. And I left BP in 2006 and started my own consulting firm called Profound Conversations because I realized that what I bring to working with senior executive teams is the ability to help them talk about what matters in a way that makes a difference. So helping people focus on what are the important conversations they need to have, and then how can they have those conversations in a way that they truly understand each other, they truly understand the data they're working with, and they can make better decisions going forward, knowing that there's no such thing as the right decision, just the best decision given what you know at the time. So I've been on my own, and then I started with Bernard this nonprofit about how do we help businesses prosper by doing good in the world, and did that for 3 years, and then I left. And for the last year, I've spent my, if you will, professional time coaching nonprofit leaders around the world and nonprofit managers through an organization called catchafire.org, which pairs expertise with nonprofits who need it. So I've worked with a brand new manager in California, an experienced manager in Cape Town. I'm starting today with a small nonprofit head in Sydney. Working with all kinds of people, but it's always for nonprofits because they can't afford to pay for expertise. But to be able to work with these new managers and new leaders and help them develop and grow and the impact they can have on their nonprofits and then the world, I find incredibly rewarding. So I'm going to another pitch, catchafire.org.
Catchafire.org.
Is the nonprofit that catchafire, one word, .org, that pairs expertise with nonprofits who need it.
Wow. And those managers and leaders so lucky to have you being their coach and mentor. And I'm sure about that.
And vice versa, because one person said, well, don't they have to pay something? Because if you're not paying, you're not serious. And I said, that's just not true. These people are desperate to learn and grow, and they're so passionate about their cause. To be able to be in a position to help them grow and have a greater impact, I mean, to me, it really is my purpose these days. And it brings me incredible joy. So to me, that's part, again, getting back to that is part of wisdom. Where's your passion? How do you match that with your strengths and your experience? And how can you find a way to well, in my case, I'm lucky to give it away for free.
Beautiful.
If not, I'd find a way to do it for money. But right now, I am so blessed to be in a place where I can do this work for people who can't afford it and have an impact on the world that way.
Beautiful, beautiful. And see, along the way, the works that you've been doing is all surrounding with wisdom. Profound conversation is to help the people to figure out how to communicate better. So communication is a basic for human to connect with humans, right? And your years of experience, we help them bridge the gap to talk in different stakeholders and stuff like that. That is wisdom. Now catchafire.org is the organization that you pass that wisdom again to senior leaders and managers for them to lead
or junior.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, even brand new, the brand new managers, the first time they've ever managed. And I realized how fortunate I was working for a global oil company. The training I got, the development I got, to be able to give that back to people who have no access to that kind of the tools, the methods, the approaches, and just to be able to share that.
Beautiful.
Is
beautiful. Now, when my wife and I, we didn't even know why we started this journey of research on aging and wisdom. We just knew that something inside of us calling us to doing that. All right. So when we thought of who we're gonna invite in for the 50 people that we're gonna selectively invite for this research, your name definitely on the list. So when you received the invitation, what did you feel?
I'm going to come back to that question, but your thought triggered me that you didn't know why you wanted to do this, but you just said yes. To me, that's part of wisdom. That the ability to say yes without knowing what's going to happen or knowing why, trusting that intuition, something's causing me to say yes to this, and to know that it might not be where you're supposed to go, whatever that means, but the willingness to, okay, I'm going to go do this for a while and see it. Is this right? That say yes, trust your intuition to say yes. So that's exactly when I got your LinkedIn message. I will almost always say yes to these conversations.
Wow.
Because we spent what, an hour on the phone 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember enjoying the conversation. You were interested in this whole approach of appreciative inquiry and strengths. So I will always say yes to a conversation, because you never know where they're going to lead.
Beautiful. So a lot of people living their lives keep saying no to opportunities, say no to something that new, to say no to something that don't know, and they don't know what they missed along the way. So how can you advise them to open the reservoir of saying yes, to explore the world and try newness?
Two things come to mind. One was a Stephen Covey quote. I know he borrowed it from somebody else, but it's easy to say no when there's a bigger yes burning inside.
Oh.
It's easy to say no when there's a bigger yes burning inside. So if you're saying no to something, what are you saying yes to? And if you don't know that, then recognize that, just think of saying yes as an experiment. There's no such thing as a failed experiment. You always learn. So, we could have had this conversation. It could have been a complete bomb that, your questions weren't very good, or I wasn't very articulate. I go, oh, okay, so what did we learn from that? And next time, so think of saying yes as an experiment. And it's not a commitment for life. It's not a vow. It's, I don't know where this is going to go. Let's just try it for a while and see. And if it works out, fine. And if not, oh, okay, that didn't work. What's next? What's next? What's next? So that I can't remember the name of the book, but for people approaching retirement, it can be a very scary time, especially for men who have put their lives into their work, and they don't have that work anymore. And the rate of heart attacks for recently retired men is huge.
Wow.
But the book was sort of around 100 things to try when you retire. You need a hobby. Well, I don't know what I'm interested in. Okay, try 10 things and see if any of them click. And if not, okay, try something else. You don't have to know everything beforehand to take that first step. Try stuff.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's wisdom, right?
So I think yes, saying yes, except when you're getting married, is not a commitment.
Neil, earlier you mentioned about the movie The Bridge of Spies, right? And the character, and they say the very beautiful thing is, would it matter? So we say that, there's a lot of people at a certain age in their lives, they will see things very clear, right? And then things that they can control, they do it. But things they're not able to control, they let it go. Wouldn't matter anyway, right? So how can we develop that capacity to see what we can control and let go of what we cannot control?
I don't know, but what's coming to mind is the power of reflection. So you're facing something. It's to slow down and reflect and think. Is this something within my circle of control? Meaning I can have direct impact on. Is it something within my circle of influence? oh, I can't change this directly, but if I talk to that person, maybe we can, or is it your circle? I forget the third circle. But there's a third circle out there, the circle of all the other stuff. I can't remember the right name. Or is it outside? There's really nothing you can do about it. And to be able to spend time thinking and reflecting, where does this issue fall on that? And if it's control, okay, now what are some things I could do to influence the outcome? Which of those do I think might give me the best chance? And which of those am I going to start trying and learning as I go? What's that first baby step I can take within my circle of control? But I think it's reflection first, and learning and planning, and then going ahead and taking that first step. Again, saying yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try this and see if it works.
That scares me a little bit, Neil, because when we say that the circle of influence or circle of control is us, is we who draw that circle, right? What if we could have a bigger circle? What if we can have a really, really big circle, but we try to be so safe to circle, to put our circle in very small way. So
that's a great point. How do you avoid those self-limiting thoughts?
yes.
And I think there's some innovation tools you can use, some creative thinking tools. It'll come to me in a second. The creative whack pack is one I've used before. The creative whack pack, WHACK, the whack pack. There are a whole bunch of innovative thinking tools, very simple. But so what if you had unlimited funds? What if you had unlimited time? Anything to start removing those barriers that are making us constrict that circle. So what if I had unlimited money? Okay, well, I could do this, and that. Okay, now let's shrink that back based on reality versus everything we're worried about. So using some simple creativity tools can help expand that thinking. And asking yourself, how am I limiting myself right now with my thinking? What's something I could do, or a thought pattern I could change to just make that circle a little bit bigger? If the circle's this big, what could I do to make it this big? In coaching, I'll often say, how likely is they'll commit to an action? Well, how likely are you to really do that? Well, it's a 6. Okay, what would it take to make it a 7?
Yeah.
Not what can you do to make sure you actually do it? What would make it a 10? Because that's scary. What's one small thing? Well, if I had a friend call me every day, great, do that. The same thing, how can you expand your circle of control just a little bit?
Beautiful.
We don't have to take leaps into the future. We can take small steps and learn as we go. Some people are much more comfortable taking giant leaps. Great. That's for them.
Wow.
Yeah. I think about a Peter Block quote. He said, benchmarking provides hope, not guidance.
Benchmark provide hope, not guidance.
Hope, not guidance. So I think about the same thing. Just because you can take giant leaps into the future, okay, good, that works for him. Okay, what can I do to take just a little bit bigger step into the future? If he can do it, I can do something similar. So I don't have to follow you. Again, that's part of wisdom. I don't have to be like anybody else. What can I learn from them that I can apply to myself, my own personality, my own resources, my own situation?
Wow.
So don't compare yourself with others. Learn from what others have achieved, and what did they do, and what can I take from that? And again, I think a big part of this is knowing your own strengths.
Then you reach to another direction right there. The harder part for us is know thyself, right? Know about ourselves. So knowing about our thinking is already hard already. Now, how can we help ourselves to know about our own self and our own strength?
The only assessment I've used for the last, I don't know, 10 years is the VIA survey of character. If you go to viacharacter.org.
Can you spell it?
V as in value, IA, VIA, character.org is the website. It's a nonprofit again, and they, back many years ago, what I like about this assessment, it's based on 3 years of research. So this is a research-based tool. It has true validity, scientific validity, unlike many other tools which only have face validity. There's no scientific background. It's the only tool I know that's used for peer-reviewed psychological papers. So it has validity. It comes from the whole field of positive psychology, but they did research on what's best about humans when we're at our best. And they looked around the world. They looked at 3,000 years of literature. They looked at the 6 major religions, anybody who had ever written or said anything about character strengths. And they identified hundreds. And then they went through a very rigorous narrowing process, and they identified 24 character strengths, personality traits. I like to think of them as character strengths. And there's a self-assessment you can do to identify your character strengths. So some of my top 7 are creativity, humor, appreciation of beauty and excellence, love, curiosity. So I learned a lot about myself, and then there are descriptions of these strengths and how do they show up. And a couple things I love about this approach is my number 24 strength is perseverance. It is still a strength, but it is not like it. I will not use it all the time. If I use it too much, I'm going to get exhausted. But it's there when I need it. But I will be using these top 5 or 6 strengths all the time. I can't help myself. So I think this is very useful, because one thing it allowed me to do when I was talking to new clients, I could be very forthright about, when we work together, we're going to work hard, but we're going to have fun. We're going to try some new stuff, because that's creativity. And we're going to come from a position of strengths. We're not going to focus on your opportunities for improvement. So being able to talk very succinctly about what do I bring to my coaching engagements? What do I bring to my life? What do I bring to my relationships? What do I bring to my parenting? It becomes very clear. And one thing I love about the report you get from VIA is what happens when strengths are underplayed or overplayed.
Yeah.
Which is very important, because what we often do is a strength overplayed with, they're whatever, instead of recognizing it's just a strength getting overplayed. Love overplayed as a parent can become overprotective. You don't let your child develop. It's not that you're a bad parent, it's you love them so much, but it's being overplayed, so it changes the conversation. So I think that's a very useful tool to understand yourself better and know what are the kinds of things that are going to let you use your strengths more of the time.
Wow.
And if we could redesign the workplace, so if you and I are on the same team, and if we can really understand each other's strengths, and we can think about what's the work that would benefit, that would play to your strengths more, and what's the work that would play to mine, because we know when we are working at our strengths, it's not work, it's joy. It's that state of flow. Yeah.
Wow.
So I think that's part of it, really knowing yourself at a deeper level in a different way.
Beautiful, beautiful. When you say that overstrength, there's a movie I remember, Apocalypse from X-Men, from DC movie. And they say that when you give people wings, they might fly too close to the sun and got burned, right? And that is exactly the overuse of our strength. And a lot of people are overusing their strength also at the moment without realizing it. And when you say that finding via assessment is a way for them to understand, what else that we could use to find the balance between, like using, not underuse but not overuse our value, our power, our strength, even our weaknesses also. Feedbacks
from those who know you. Be willing to ask. Here's something I'm really trying to work on in my life that I'm trying to improve. Can you let me know when I'm doing this really, really well? And can you let me know when it might be something I could be doing better? Notice that language. Let me know when I'm doing it really well, and not let me know where I've screwed up. Let me know where I'm falling short. Let me know where I failed. Let me know what I could do that would make it even better. Very subtle. One thing you could do is if you just listened a little bit more when you're talking to people, I think you would be much more effective. It's much better than saying, "Oh my God, you never shut up."
But people not really desire to be listeners, not really desire to be a well listener themselves. So how can we become a better listener?
What's the one small step you could take? What's something you could try? Is it first? Do you really want to become a better listener?
Okay, so that's the first step. Yes.
And that because in my coaching, the number of leaders said, "Oh, I wish I had more time with my family." I'll say, "Do you really?" Well, yeah. So, okay, what are the consequences you get now from working all this time and traveling all this time? Well, I get money, power, decision making. I said, yeah, and your family, do they like having 2 homes and taking? Yeah, they do. Okay, so you are choosing consequences. Let's make it explicit. Yeah, you're right. Do you really want to spend more time with your family, which means less money, less power, less chance of advancement? No, I like that. Okay, so it takes away the victimhood. So I'd say, do you really want to become a better listener? What would that do for you? And are you willing to take the consequences? Because that will take some work. It will take some time. It will take some effort. It will probably take getting some feedback from people that you're not going to like. Do you really want to do that? And being able to have those profound conversations with yourself. Or if you can find a trusted coach, a partner, someone who will challenge you that same way. Are you serious about this? Do you really want this? At the extreme, you look at the Olympics that are going on right now. Those people are choosing their consequences in terms of the life they've led, the hours they spend practicing. They know what they've given up, and they've made a very conscious, explicit choice. You don't become on the podium, "Oh, I think I might try X." So at a much lower level, do you really want to become a better listener?
Beautiful. Here's the thing, everything happens when we make a decision, always have some consequences along the way. So a part of wisdom is
make them explicit.
Yeah.
What are the consequences I'm choosing?
What if they don't see the consequence?
What do you mean?
What if they're too focused on this area and they cannot see the consequence?
Feeling like a victim. That's where I think in some cases therapy can be very helpful. Because our childhood patterns are there all the time, and they have a huge impact on us. And so they can be completely unaware of all these things. So I think therapy, a really close friend, a confidant, someone to help explore what's going on. I didn't say this was easy.
So for you, if you get into that situation to make a decision and knowing there's consequences, what is your personal practice to think before you decide?
That's my initial answer is no, because of again, the kind of person I am. I tend to act first and then see what happens. I am not a planner. I never have. My wife is an amazing planner. It's something I love and admire about her. I am not. It's, well, let's just do something, and then I'll sort of process what's happened after, and then, oh, that didn't work. Let's try something else. I was about to say I could probably benefit from more thinking and planning, but I know I never will.
So I'm interested to know how your word and your wife were matching together.
We work very well together, and we drive each other crazy. Because I think I help her not worry so much what's going to happen, and she helps me worry a little bit more about what's going to happen. To plan for her birthday, I planned an entire day getting people together, going out and buying all this stuff. So I can do it when I need to. I find that stuff exhausting. She loves doing that stuff, but so together we make a good combination. I help her relax a little bit and worry less about things, and she helps me worry more about things, I think is the best way to describe it. And at times we both overuse our strengths, and it gets us into trouble.
Wow.
So plan, and then something happens, and we'll see what happens, and then something happens. So
I'll tell Vivian about this because I'm exactly like you. I let go with the flow and see how the experience you're gonna get. Where she planned everything into the very detail of it. So sometimes, like we got into a bit arguments about something that it really, not matter anymore. But hopefully by time then we're gonna accumulate enough wisdom to not get into that small little problem anymore.
To let the little things go. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, recognizing that they're almost everything is a little thing.
Yeah. Neil, along the way of us growing, there's how can we develop the system that can help us to not derailing from getting things affecting our aging with wisdom though? What should we watch along the way?
I'm not sure I understand your question. Try another way.
Let me try another way. There's something that we have a to-do list. So if I do this, then I can have a chance to be wiser with time. But if I'm not doing these things, they also have a higher chance of not getting more stupid by time. So what would be those not to do if I want to become a wiser person through time?
It's so counter to my way of thinking now about what not to do versus what to do. Because as soon as we think about what not to do, that's what's in our brain. So what I would say, pay attention to yourself, to others. Pay attention to where do you find yourself most energized? What are those things you look forward to doing? Who are those people you look forward to seeing? And focus on those things and those people and those activities. And a lot of that's reflection. And one thing I've learned is when I do that and I think about, that person I really don't get a lot of energy for, guess what? We don't spend very much time together anymore. I realized I thought this person was a friend, but when I reflect, you know what? I don't feel energized when I'm thinking about meeting that person. So I don't spend time with that person anymore.
Oh,
I go to where I get more energy. So I think pay attention to your energy is really important.
pay attention to our energy, right? So where it gives us joy, happy, things we're excited to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's even simpler. What gives you energy?
Mm.
When you wake up and you look at your calendar, can't wait for that. Oh, that one. But we all have those things that take energy, and that's life. But what are those things that we know when we leave? Like conversations like this, I leave them so much more energized than when we start.
Thank you.
That's what gives me energy. That's what gives me energy. And those people that I find I leave the conversations more energized is where I want to spend time.
Wow. Wow. In terms of,
And just to emphasize again, I think the biggest thing is learning to say no.
Learning to say no. Why is that
to those things that to those, because they become time sinks, to those things that don't give us energy.
So you say
I've had requests to do some work at our synagogue, and I know, you know what, no, but I can say no because I have a bigger yes burning inside. So learning that it's okay to say no.
Earlier you mentioned
about some people that's very hard.
Earlier you said that you use the phrase from Stephen Covey, right? You said say no if you have a bigger yes inside of us.
Correct.
Then the question is, how can we build that bigger yeses inside of us?
I think the yes is, where do you find energy? That's why I said no to working on that with the nonprofit with Bernard, because I realized that wasn't the level I wanted to work, and the things we were doing weren't giving me energy. So I was able to say no to that, because I knew, for me, it's those more intimate conversations and intimate interactions at a smaller level, individual, team, organization, that give me the energy. So I could say yes to that. So that's why I could say yes to doing all this coaching for free internationally with Catch a Fire, because I know every one of those conversations I leave more energized.
I want to pick your
pay attention to what gives you energy. I can't say it enough.
Absolutely, but I need to pick your thinking on this one.
Sure.
You know, let me become a devil advocate in here, okay? Because positive energy come in many different forms also. So sometimes we don't know, you know, what we can see now is positive energy. For example, like if I'm after this conversation, I'm gonna go out and have beers with my friends. They give me joy and energy. But tomorrow I wake up and I will be, exhausting and stuff like that. So something that can give me certain joy and energy for now can hamper my energy in the future. So how can we distinguish though along the way?
You already did. You said I wake up the next day exhausted, and you didn't say hungover. So is that a consequence you want?
There's a lot of people realize it also, but keep on going to that will again and again and again, not just 1 week, but 1 year, 10 years of their lives. So the moment that they can stop, that wrong investment on the energy, that they thought a positive energy, the better for them to be aging with and become a wiser person themselves. How can we help them to realize that?
I'm not sure I have an answer for that. I'm not sure there's anything wrong with going out for beers with friends. if you're doing that at the exclusion of everything else that gives you energy, I mean, again, we're not talking 100% of your life living in joy. I think that's unrealistic. My guess is if we could have 50% of our lives living in that space, it would be amazing. I don't, is it 70? Is it 80? I don't know. So what can you do to increase from whatever you are now 5% more joy,
Wow.
5% more energy. So again, it's small steps. You don't have to give up everything.
So the next question is about you. Okay. So if Neil at 30 years old, Neil at 50 years old, and Neil a week ago 70 years old, happy belated birthday anyway. Congratulations. I'm sorry. So what would be the difference between that three stage, 30, 50, and 70 of your life?
The easiest one is worrying a lot less about what other people think of me.
Mm.
In my 20s and 30s, that was a big, so I was always worried. How am I doing? How am I looking? What do people think? And now I won't say I don't care at all. I do, but it's a lot less important.
Is there any specific reason for that?
I think that does come with age. I'm not sure there's a shortcut. I'm sure there is. It wasn't for me, but I think it's very common for younger people to be worried about that stuff. And maybe that's just part of naturally aging. Maybe it serves a purpose. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
So when you think less of how people think of you, how do you feel? Or would it matter?
I'm so much less anxious or worried or wasting energy. Oh, how did that sound? Did that come out all right? I wonder if they think I'm stupid. It's just an energy suck. It just drains you.
So do you think that at younger age, we can adopt that capacity of think less of what people think of us?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so. And yeah.
So if
I don't have hints about how to make that happen.
So if you can pick just one advice from now, you say, okay, you are 42 years old, 43 years old. Here's the advice from Neil for you to think less of what people think of you. For example, like what would be the advice you give me, my friend?
The first I had a question that came to mind. I want to say, well, why do you care so much?
Because
why does it matter to you what all these other people think of you? Now, certain people, I care a lot about what my wife thinks of me. I care a lot about what my close friends think of me. I care a lot about what these people I'm working with on Catch a Fire think of me. I want to make sure they're getting value from our conversations. So in that respect, it's not like, I'm just me, I don't care what you think. But certain other people, you don't like me? Okay. I remember having conversations with potential clients that this isn't going to work. I can just tell. Okay.
I see.
And to know, here's why. To know that what other people think of you, except those really closest, really don't matter to you and your life and what's important.
Only the people close to us matter, right?
If you have a boss, well, yes, it matters what the boss thinks of you in terms of your professional competence. You'd be stupid. No, I don't care. This is just who I am. I'm not. But everybody, all these others, and in other settings, that doesn't really matter. So they don't think as highly of you. Does it really affect you and your life? And if the answer is no, but I want people to like me, well, then that's probably some therapy that you need to be able to deal with that, because that's at a deeper level.
That's concerned me a lot, Neil, in the past couple of years, when there's a whole notion of be yourself and, corporate keep promote people to truly, be themselves. I believe that is good, but if too much of promotion, the people will forget about the boundaries, forget about, how the operation is supposed to be, how the hierarchy is gonna be, and they just, I don't care about my boss, I just be myself and stuff like that's not gonna work. So
I agree. It doesn't, because we're humans. We live in a world of connections and conversations.
Mm.
And so, yeah, yeah, you can be yourself all you want, but guess what? People aren't going to want to spend time with you. So if you're a complete jerk, great, be yourself, be lonely. you, you, you cannot be yourself, because we are defined by our relationships.
Yeah.
We are not singular human beings. Yeah. We are defined by our relationships. That's what creates who we are in this world, I think.
Beautiful. I agree with you too. I have a few more questions for our conversation today,
Sure.
Neil. So the first one is we talked about the not to do already. Okay. So now we talk about the to do thing. So what do you think that we need to do every day to help us to expand our capacity to be wiser?
We talked about it a little bit. It's reflection. It's focusing on your energy.
Okay.
It's focusing on those people and activities that give you energy, that bring you joy, and shedding those things that are less so, that you can let go of. What can you let go of?
So yeah.
I'd say physical health is very important. It's hard to age well when you haven't taken care of yourself and things are happening to you, because it takes a lot of energy to heal. So the more proactive you can be in taking care of yourself, not to the extreme. I do exercise. I eat reasonably well, but I like pizza. I like ice cream. I don't deprive myself, but I don't want to live to be 120. But my mom died last year at 101. So I think I'm going to live a long time, but I want to make sure I'm able to enjoy those years.
Hmm.
So take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. And to me, it still comes back to energy, because our physical health has so much to do with how much energy we have and can share.
I like the phrase, the part you just said, that being able to enjoy our life, right? So for you, what did you do to make yourself enjoying your life, Neil?
I was fortunate. When I was working, I had a job that gave me great satisfaction for years and years and years. And then when I went out on my own, I was able to deal with clients that I wanted to work with. Again, people I wanted to be in relationship with, who were performance driven and yet cared about people and were willing to experiment. So I was able to create work that gave me joy and also gave me a chance to travel all over the world, which brings me joy. I like to exercise. I like to cycle. I like to hike. I like to swim. So I do things and being outdoors is critical to me, and I know that. So I spend a lot of time outside.
Mm.
So it's funny, it keeps coming back to everything I've said to you, I know gives me energy.
Energy.
If I'm inside too much, it's draining. It doesn't take much, just a quick walk outside, and I feel better. So I know other people that's not true. Outdoors isn't as significant. For me, it is.
That's why I asked about you.
Yeah, I know. And as I'm talking, I realize what do all those things have in common? They all give me energy.
Wow. And I hope that our listeners who listen to this conversation will be able to find a list of things that give them the energy that they want, and doing it more, do it often, doing it when they like it, to give them a life of enjoyment. So that's important, right? Two last questions, okay? And the last time that we met, I didn't have a chance to ask you about a project that we would want to. We've been doing it for 4 years. Is to help people to improve their ability to think. because we believe that every good change will start by our ability to think. If we think well, then we can come up with better idea. Then we execute well, then it can lead into something better. All right. So put it in a positive energy, positive way. So how over the years, how have you been improved your ability to think?
Um, I think I'll come back to your question, but I take a little issue with not thinking is important, but it's not the only thing.
Oh.
How can you improve people's ability to feel? How can you improve people's ability to connect with other people, which I think are equally important? Thinking is one way of being in the world. I think it gets too much attention at the expense of all those people who feel their way in the world. And connect socially is how they are in the world. So I think, so you can tell I'm a thinker as well, because I use the word I think, not I feel. It's very telling. The language is very telling. So how have I improved the way I think? I love to read and getting ideas from both, the professional books as well as fiction and nonfiction. I think I improved my ability to think by engaging with people who think differently than me. I'm a member of a book club, and one member is the most analytical reader I have ever seen in my life. And he pays attention to details that I would miss. But because I know Erwin, I now read a little differently. It's changed a little bit how I think when I read.
Beautiful. Erwin, his name.
Yeah. Erwin. Yeah, I'm laughing because certain stories I could tell I won't, but just such an analytical reader. I think the ladder of inference is probably the best tool to help us think differently and recognize how quickly are you familiar with the ladder of inference?
No.
Okay. I'll send you a paper about it, but it explains that we are meaning-making beings as humans, and with very little information, we jump up to the top of our ladder and reach a conclusion.
Oh.
Very little data. It's a fantastic tool. Have your watchers look up ladder of inference. It's a tool Chris Argyris developed years and years ago. But trouble is we don't think very much. We leap to conclusions with very little data, and we forget that we don't have access to all the data. We don't have the same experience, so we process data differently based on my experiences. You and I can look at the same thing, and because we have such different experiences, we will reach different conclusions about what the data mean. And then we will reach different conclusions, and we will take different actions based on the exact same data. The story I always tell to illustrate this is, imagine, I do this with a big group of people, you're at a really fancy resort hotel. But you are the world's foremost expert on safety. So you've just spent 2 hours doing a safety audit for this hotel. Okay, and then I say, tell me about the hotel. Well, you have fire extinguishers, you have emergency exits blocked, you don't have the right exhaust fans in the kitchen. So that's what you as a safety expert paid attention to. And then I say, okay, imagine you are a young bride and her mother at this hotel deciding if you want to hold your wedding here. Walk around for 2 hours, tell me about this hotel. You will tell me, the lobby is beautiful, the flowers, the food was delicious, the ballroom was gorgeous, the ground. So 2 people walking around the exact same hotel, 2 completely different stories. So we do that all the time as humans. we forget that we only are paying attention to certain data because of our biases, our prejudices, our upbringing, our experiences, but we think that is the truth instead of our truth. So by learning that we think we're thinking, but we're not, we're leaping into conclusions. We don't have all the data. Everybody's experience is different. How can we learn? How can we, first of all, recognize we do this all the time in a split second? How can we learn to bring in these other perspectives, this other data, this other set of experiences, and expand our thinking that way? Because if you ask people, if you find yourself in a debate, stop and go, help me understand how you reach this conclusion. What data do you have? It will end the debate right away, because what often happens is, oh, I didn't know that.
That's wisdom right there.
It's the only way I know to change somebody's mind is you get down to the level of data and you say, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Now let me share my data with you, because here's what the data I have and the experience. Oh, so to change your thinking, realize you're often not thinking at all.
What is the tool name?
The ladder, LADDER, the ladder of inference. INFER, inference.
Inference, yeah, ladder of inference. But you're gonna send
it's
me
one of the most powerful.
Yeah.
Send me. Make sure I have your email. I'm not sure I do.
I sent you an email earlier today. Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Send me that one. Thank you.
Yes.
The last question.
Expand your thinking by. Go ahead.
I will be very interested to look for that ladder of inference, and I'll let you know how I feel about that one, and I will share with my family first for them to gather the feedback, send it back to you. Okay. The last question about the future. Okay. Is there anything exciting you are working on, and you want to talk more about catchafire.org to tell us how we can connect with you and how we can learn from your experience and wisdom?
Yeah, Catch a Fire, doing this one-on-one coaching for nonprofits is really where I'm spending a significant part of my free time these days, because it's so impactful and energizing, and it brings me joy, and it brings these other people, it helps them develop, it brings them more power within their organizations. So it really is changing the world one person at a time through their organizations. So I'd say if anybody has any capacity, because what I love about this, it's on your own schedule. You can commit to as much or as little depending on what the need of the organization is. Some can be a 1-hour phone call. Some can be, a phone call for an hour every week for a few months. So it's not a huge commitment. So I can't recommend enough that if you have any spare capacity, to share that with others who need some support. And you can imagine nonprofits need help in 35 different areas, from accounting to social media.
Yeah.
So there's a spot there for everybody to share their expertise and experience with an organization who needs it.
So only open to NGO.
It's all nonprofits. Yeah, it's only nonprofits. So you're not donating your money to somebody who can pay for it.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, it's only nonprofits who can use this. Yeah.
Got it.
So if you're looking to make money consulting, this isn't the way to do it.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the opportunity to see you again, and I hope that you will enjoy and I know for sure that you're gonna enjoy your trip to Japan. It's a beautiful country with a lot of things for you to see, and I hope one day we're gonna meet in person, my friend, and that would be wonderful.
I look forward to that. And let's not another 2 years. Let's not let another 2 years go by before we talk. We can talk just to find out what's going on.
Absolutely.
Because next time I want to interview you and find out what you and Vivian have been working on and the impact you're having. So next time we're going to flip the cameras.
Absolutely, absolutely. I will be so happy sharing the journey that my wife and I've been doing.
Yeah.
All right.
I look forward to it.
You
Take
too.
care.
You take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.